Welcome back. I'm Davey the Good. Today let's talk about super easy raised beds. Folks have this idea that your raised beds have got to have nice boundaries on them. They've got to have, you got to put down some bricks or put down some cinder blocks or maybe make concrete edges, or you've got to go out and buy some cedar or some pressure treated, and we've got all these little demonstrations on how to make raised beds. Well, guess what? Plants don't care about those borders. Today I'm going to show you how I make raised beds a really simple way for food production without all of the construction. Some years ago I read John Jeevan's book, How to Grow More Vegetables, Fruits, Nuts, etc., so on and so forth, than you ever imagined in less space than you ever thought possible. I am not a complete John Jeevan's aficionado. I tend to be on the Steve Solomon side of the curve more than the John Jeevan's style. I like wider spacing than John Jeevan's uses. I don't like things packed in really tightly, and I don't like to transplant as much if I can help it. But there's something that I learned from him which was really kind of eye-opening to me, and that is the way he does raised beds. Raised beds, the John Jeevan's biointensive style, are double dug pieces of dirt with dirt pathways in between. There is just a mounded bit of soil with paths in between, and they don't have boundaries on them. And I just absolutely love this, because it means you don't have to go and spend a few days buying materials and putting it in. I hate buying stuff if I don't need it, and the plants don't care. So if you make these beds, you get the benefit of a raised bed. You've kind of loosened the soil and you've brought it up a little bit, and you go ahead and you plant it, and your plants are really happy, and you decide you want to change the orientation of the beds or something next year. You want to join a couple of beds and plant the whole area with watermelons. You want to divide a bed in a couple of 4x4s instead of one big 8x4, and you want your kids to have a bed here and a bed here, whatever. You just change it around. Doesn't matter. You don't have to go back and recut it all. You don't have to worry about it rotting out within a couple of years. There's nothing. You take the ground, clear the sod off, you dig the beds, and you've got beds. And I don't have to spend any money. All I have to do is spend a little bit of labor. So I adopted that method, and John Jeevan recommends a 5-foot wide bed for the microclimates of his closely planted crops. But I don't like to go that wide because I find it harder to reach, and also I have my wife and my kids working with me, and so they can reach across the beds and work with them. Now I'm going to show you my beds, but I don't want you to laugh too much because it's the dry season right now and we have no water on this lot. So this is not going to be a Martha Stewart gardening demonstration right now. You're going to see rough and ready, waiting for the rain, and I'll show you what the beds look like, and you can at least get an idea, and they're probably going to look a lot prettier in your yard. This is a raised bed. This is a raised bed. And this is a raised bed. As you can see, there's a little bit of mounding along the edges. This is my path coming along here to here. I like at least a 2-foot path, and you can see how things are planted. See that? There's the path. Here's the bed. And like I said, it's really, really dry right now, so everything looks sad. This is what real gardening looks like. I don't have anything really beautiful to show you. These are tobacco that are growing right here. A little bit of homegrown, and then I have some cauliflower and cabbages growing in there, just waiting for a good rain. It actually hasn't rained significantly in probably 2 months at this point, so some things are simply giving up. But what we'll do is we will go and rough up those paths again when the rain comes in, mound them up a little higher, throw in maybe a little more seaweed and some amendments for the soil, and we'll be back at it again. This one here, you can see we mulched it. I mulched it all with grass and rabbit manure from my kids' rabbit. And so we've got 3 beds right here that don't have any borders on them, but they'll grow crops just fine. Now I'm going to show you a couple that I just built the other day. This area right here is 2 raised beds. They're basically 4 foot by about I'd say they were almost 12 foot, maybe 10 or 11. There's a big rock right in the middle that we couldn't do anything with, but as you can see, probably here, you see how it's raised up on both sides. I dug out the path in the middle. First thing we did was loosen the ground and dug out the path in the middle and threw it up on top of these beds, and then we've been picking the rocks and sticks and stuff out of them ever since. But you can see this is really simple. Now, we don't have to have these boundaries on here, but I stuck these, had the kids throw these logs along here so they wouldn't walk over into the bed, and I want the pathway to be right here once we get it a little clearer alongside. So I just wanted a visual border, but it's completely unnecessary if you know where the edges of your beds are, which you can usually tell. So these little boundaries here are not important. They're just marking off where we're supposed to walk and not walk. So we've got right here 2 beds, and there's a plenty of growing space, and we did this in a very short period of time. And I did most of it with this one tool right here. This is a triangular hoe. Sometimes it's called adze hoe. There's different names for it. This triangle hoe is a digging hoe that I got from Easy Digging. Easy Digging carries like a wide variety of different digging implements for like off-grid and that kind of thing. So I picked this triangular hoe head up, and this is great for digging beds and shaping beds and taking weeds out. So I did most of it with that, but all you need is if you have a digging fork, or if you have a spade, a rake, or even best of all if you have a broad fork, and you can just loosen the ground up to about a foot deep, at least 2 feet if you're really feeling ornery and strong, and turn it over, shape it into the beds, get the weeds out of it, pull the rocks out as best as you can, and you're ready to go. This is all garden space, and you didn't spend any money. Thanks for joining me. Get out in your backyard, dig yourself a bed or 10, and see how completely easy it can be to do this without having to go and spend a weekend doing construction first. You can get your plants in the ground almost right away, and you'll reap abundantly, and plants don't care. They'll be very happy if they've got loose soil, a little bit of mounded soil. It's all the benefits of a raised bed without the pain in the neck of building borders. And it may not impress your neighbors as much, but you're gonna bring in the vegetables, and it's gonna be good for your pocketbook. I'll catch you all next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.